Hi you lot, hope you're well. I thought I would share a little practice with you today. There's been a lot going on in the world and sometimes it can be nice to just get into your body, get out of your brain a little bit and to lube things up. So I hope you find this useful. So we're going to start in child's pose. So come onto your hands and knees. And you can decide how wide apart you want your knees to be. Bring your big toes to touch behind you with the toenails pressing into the ground. And then gently ease yourself back, bum towards your heels. If your bum doesn't reach your heels, you can always put a block or a book, or what's kind of nicer is a little blanket underneath your bum. And then support yourself as you come down. You can rest the forehead on the floor. Or you can bring the floor to you and rest your head by making two fists with your hands. And here you can just relax the belly, take a couple of breaths. Give yourself a moment to check in. Perhaps give yourself a little body scan. Maybe a little wiggle side to side, just notice how you're feeling today. Particularly pay attention if you've got any old injuries that you're working with or anywhere that's feeling a bit tender or stiff or tight that could use a bit of gentleness, tenderness. And maybe it's a good time to remind yourself that the practice is as unique as you are. So there's no forcing or no need to push yourself into any shape that doesn't feel great for your body. That you can take as many rests as you like. And our purpose here today is just to simply have an adventure, see what's there, see if we can possibly make a bit of space for our bodies and our brains. So you can stay there as long as you like, but if you feel ready, slowly come up onto hands and knees. And then support yourself on all fours, so knees underneath your hips, shoulders over the wrists, spread your fingers out nice and wide. And take a moment here, you can have the toes tucked or untucked, your choice. And then from here we'll move into cat and cow. So start to let the bottom lift, so we're going to lead with the pelvis today. Belly sinks and perhaps the chest can lift, sternum lifts, chin lifts, ears move back, arms stay straight. And then do the opposite. Press the hands into the floor and then start to round the spine. So as you pay attention to your pelvis, you'll probably feel that there's a tucking under, like a kind of timid dog, if you know what I mean, or dog, I'm not going to go there. So there's a rounding of the pelvis, lengthening of the low back, space between the shoulder blades. Take a couple of breaths into that area around the upper back, let the head be heavy. And then just alternate between those two extremes, without going over the edge or causing yourself any pain. Instead, rather get into the sensations in your spine. It's a really nice way to open up the doors and the windows to the body. That sounds really cheesy, but it's a good way of just checking in, just noticing how you're feeling today. And you can keep it pretty linear, moving up and down. Or maybe you can take it into an R&B grind, so maybe lead with the ribs and start to take circles whilst arching and rounding the spine. And you can freestyle here, so we're all about the freestyle. And you creating your own practice. Just let it be intuitive and let it feel good for your body. And maybe moving around feels great for you today. If you're feeling you just want to kind of be slow and perhaps stay in one position and just take a few breaths there, making some space, then that's a-okay. If you are going in circles in one direction, when it feels good for you, just change direction. Just feel it out. It's a good moment to check in with your breath. Check that you're still breathing. Can you breathe more fluidly? Just always paying attention, looking for any areas that maybe feel a little tight. Seeing if you can make more space there with your breath, but also thinking about areas that feel really spacious and fluid. Perhaps appreciating that, and a body that can move. And then we'll gradually bring ourselves to some kind of center, so balanced left and right, front and back. And we'll move into puppy pose. So take it easy here, no need to push or force. Just start to walk the hands forward. It might just be an inch, and you might just stay there breathing, letting the chest lower. Perhaps you can walk the hands further forward, keeping the arms straight. And maybe it feels comfortable for the forehead to rest on the ground, bottoms up as we say. Some of you may feel there's still space for you to gently sink your chest towards the floor, again without forcing. So it's your preference really. If you prefer to rest the forehead, if it comes to the floor, then feel welcome to do that. Maybe the chin wants to reach towards the ground, no pressure. Fingers are still spread. Try and keep the breath fluid as you feel out this back bend. And slowly start to make your way back up. Just take your time. And then have the hands just in front of the wrists. And we'll sink the chest and the chin towards the ground. So bend the elbows to point behind you. Chest reaches the floor. Roll the shoulders back. And then like a creepy crawly, slide yourself forward, slithering. Tops of the feet to the floor. Bring the forearms down for Sphinx pose. So take the elbows just in front of the shoulders now. Palms press on the floor. Tops of the feet press into the ground. Spread the toes. And then press the front of the pelvis into the ground just to open up through the low back. And then imagine if the mat weren't there, and perhaps you're not using a mat and you're on a slidey floor. Imagine you're trying to drag yourself along the floor using your forearms. So it's a dragging sensation with your forearms. And as you do that, perhaps you can lift the sternum, have some space between the collarbones, roll the shoulders back, keep pressing the front of the pelvis and the tops of the feet into the floor. Rolling the shoulders back, maybe you can take the ears back, finding your breath here in this back bend. Try and keep it casual, and then slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Slide the hands back, cobra pose, hug the elbows in, and then keep the same position with your feet, active legs, front of the pelvis, pressing towards the ground. Roll the shoulders back, and then peel yourself up, maybe a tiny amount, maybe a lot. But just see what feels good for you today. Keep hugging the elbows in, lift the sternum, maybe take the ears back, and then slowly lower everything down to the floor. And then push yourself up onto all fours, taking it slow. And then back to a weird child's pose. So tuck the toes and lower the forehead back to the ground. Again, if the ground isn't accessible, then just bring it to you using fists. Keep the arms stretched out in front of you, fingers spread. Imagine you're trying to push the mat forward. That should hopefully make some space through the spine. Relax the face, soft belly. And then inhale, come back up onto all fours. Hands just in front of the shoulders. As you exhale, take the chest and the chin towards the ground. Slither forward into cobra. So just go at your own pace. And then push back to your weird child's pose shape. So finding a flow that works. breathing fluidly. And we'll do that one more time on your own. When you make it to your weird child's pose, you can stay there as long as you like, but if you feel ready, on an inhale, come up onto hands and knees, and we'll move into downward dog. So toes are tucked. Start to gently lift the knees away from the floor, so just activating some core power all the way around the waist. And then keep that tension there as you gently press into your hands, reaching forwards, but stretching your bum all the way up behind you. So it can be a good idea to keep the knees bent as you reach your bum high up into the air. Try and let the head go. So if it's feeling tense in the neck, maybe move the head around and encourage a softening. Keep the fingers spread. Imagine you're hugging the hands towards each other. And if you've got space in your dog, maybe reach the heels towards the ground behind you. Spread out the toes. Couple of breaths here. And then gently lower the knees to the floor. Then the chest and the chin. And come all the way down to your belly. And take a moment here. You can reach the arms forward and rest the forehead on the floor. You can make a little pillow for your head with your arms. From here, we're going to roll onto the left side. So I'm going to use my right fingertips to support me and stretch my left arm forward. Left ear rests onto the left arm. You're just going to roll it over. So maybe you can practice your balance laying on your side. If that's not feeling so steady, just bend the knees. It's totally fine. And also remember your right fingers are supporting you here. So you can stay just resting on the left side body. But if you want to go for a slight side stretch, you're going to lift the head and then slowly slide the left hand towards you. So left hand moves towards your left hip. Left arm is straight. And try and take the underarm and move it forwards and away from you. So it might look different compared to me, and that's okay because we've all got different bodies. But we're just looking to get a nice stretch to the left side body, so you can practice straightening the legs if that works. You can let the head go here and just take a few breaths. Those of you who've got more space, you can keep dragging that left hand closer towards you to deepen the stretch. But let the head be casual. Find your breath. And we'll probably feel this in different areas. Some people, especially if you're a runner or a cyclist, you might feel this more around the IT band, just the outer hip and running down the outer thigh. Some people might feel it around the waist or maybe up to the armpit. So it could be a really nice way to just get into the body, make some space, especially if you're tired as well. So we can get quite compressed around the side body. The organs start to lose their space. So it can be a really nice way to open up, find the breath. And then we'll swap sides. So slowly lower yourself back down and we'll try and take it in a really lazy fashion. Lazy being a good thing. Roll by your front all the way over to your right side. Pause there. Maybe you feel like just taking a snooze here, and that's fine. If you want to go in for the side stretch, just start to slide that right hand towards your right hip. And it might feel like it's a different distance between the left and the right side. So notice that if you're tighter on one side than you are on the other. If you're right-handed, this is probably going to be the tightest side for most of you. Vice versa if you're left-handed, but just notice that for what it is. Just finding your breath, maybe increasing the stretch if you've got space by dragging the right hand closer towards you. And as you let the head go, it can be a nice stretch for the left side of the neck. And when you feel ready, just slowly start to release, lowering all the way back down onto your front. Slide the hands back, push up to down dog. From down dog, just take a breath. And then bend the knees, look forwards, lift the sternum. And then you can step, jump or walk the feet towards your hands. And as you inhale, lift the chest, look up, lift the sternum. And exhale, fold it forwards, tucking the chin. So you can have some space between your feet here, spread out the toes. As you inhale, lift the chest, lift the sternum. And then left hand goes underneath your face. If you can't reach the ground, just bring the ground to you by placing a block under your left hand. Right hand to right hip. And then just start to bend the left knee. So we're going to stretch through the outside of that right thigh. Start to use your right elbow to point towards the ceiling as you twist the chest to the right side of the room. So it doesn't have to be a massive twist. See if you can just let the twist come from the elbows reaching up and maybe pointing behind you. So you're really trying to get into the thoracic spine, mid-spine. It's quite hard to talk and breathe here, but just do your best to breathe. And then check that there's no tension in the neck, so you can let the head go. If it feels good, reach the right arm up. Maybe take the hand back, no strain. And then release that right hand. Goes to where the left hand was. You can straighten both legs. And then start to bend the right knee, left hand to left hip. Use the left elbow to rotate the chest to the left. And maybe this is plenty. Just staying here, breathing. Maybe you can reach the arm up. Try and soften any tension through the neck. Give your neck some room. And then gently release that. Bend both knees, grab hold of your elbows, spread the toes. And if you like, you can sway here from side to side if that feels good for your body. If you want to start charging up the legs, then begin to press into the soles of the feet. So the knees can stay bent, but you want to feel like a power up as you press down. Start to feel that activation through the legs. Maybe you'll feel it around the back of the hips. See if you can start to lift the thighs up away from the knees. But then let the upper body continue to drape down. And you can release the elbows. As you inhale, lift the chest, look up. As you exhale, step the right foot back behind you into a lunge. And from here, inhale, lift the sternum, strong back leg. Then as you exhale, start to pivot towards the right side of the mat. And then parallel the feet, spread out the toes. And in fact, you can pigeon the feet, pigeon the toes a little bit by pointing them towards each other. Hands underneath the shoulders, inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, fold forward, and if it's accessible, you can take the peace fingers, just wrap them around the big toes, and then inhale, lift the chest once again, lift the sternum. Exhale and fold, bending the elbows to point out to the sides. Back of the neck is long, and tip some weight towards your toes. So if you feel that the head is kind of bashing against the floor, you can shorten the stance between your feet, and vice versa. The head feels a really long way away from the floor and it's not so comfortable. You can see about creating more space between your feet, more distance. So from here, keep that same activation, pressing into the ground through the feet. Maybe feel the backs of the legs waking up, but support the hamstrings by really engaging the quads. So start to lift the thighs up away from the knees. Really activate and power up through the legs. Gently release the fingers if you've got hold of the toes, and inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, turn towards the front of the mat again. Bring the back knee down to the floor, and you can wiggle the front foot a bit wider. Right hand stays there, left hand reaches back like you're playing a big air guitar. Offering a platter of sausages, maybe staying there, or maybe picking up the back foot, pick up the platter, roll the left shoulder back, taking a couple of breaths here, and then release the back foot, left hand comes down to the floor, lift up the back knee, and take a look at the front toes. So you kind of want to point the front toes a little bit out to the left side of the mat. We're going to step forward into a squat. So feet wide, toes and knees point in the same direction. And you're going to come to any kind of squat. Heels might not touch the floor, that's okay. You can put a blanket underneath them, or you can sit on a block or a cushion or a blanket. From here though, see if you can lift the sternum. Nice. Those of you practicing arm balances, you might go into crow pose from here. If you're feeling it, crow or crane. So you can take the hands to the floor, spread the fingers nice and wide, lift the bum, and up to you. At the moment I'm practicing crow with knees behind my upper arms. So get the knees as high as you can, let the spine round, and then tilt forward facing the ground, maybe lifting one foot up, maybe lifting both feet up, bringing the big toes together. And then from here, you might move through a flow, step back to plank. Take an inhale and plank. And then exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Inhale for cobra. And exhale, down dog. From down dog, take a breath. Reacquaint, and then bend the knees, look forwards, lift the sternum, step, jump, walk or hop the feet forwards, and inhale, lift the chest, look up, exhale and fold, inhale, lift the chest, look up, and exhale, step the left foot back behind you into a lunge. So remember, this is your practice, just take your own time getting there. Front knee over front ankle, lift the sternum as you inhale, press the back heel back. And then you're going to pivot to the left, parallel the feet. And from here, inhale, lift the chest, look up. Exhale and fold. So if you can, bring the hands between your feet and point the elbows to face behind you. And again, decide on the distance between your feet so that you feel like you've got a good, steady, supportive platform. Spread the toes. Really activate through the feet. Those of you who feel the tops of the head can come to the floor, maybe you're practicing your headstand and experimenting with balance. Maybe you can come on up. And actually, I recommend coming up with knees bent. It's a little bit more sturdy. If you're not headstanding, try not to worry about it and think about all the benefits that you get from a wide-legged forward fold. And if you're in a headstand, slowly coming back down, just take your time. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, bend into the right knee, pivot towards the front of the mat. Back knee comes down, and then air guitar your way back. Platter of sausages. Widen that front foot. You can turn the foot out a little. And maybe pick up the back foot. Couple of breaths here. So don't worry if you can't pick up the back foot. Just think of this as a really nice twist and shoulder opener. So let the neck be casual. Find your breath. Then if you've got hold of the foot, release it. Right hand comes down to the floor, lift up the back knee. So ready to step forward to a squat. So come on forwards. Malasana. Bringing the palms together. Those of you who can't get enough of your arm balances, you might feel like once again going up into crow, and if you're not feeling like it, that's okay as well. So elbows point behind you. Try and lift the sternum as you come up. Lift the navel. And then take a flow. Back through plank. Lowering all the way down to the floor. Through cobra. And then take it back to down dog. Down dog. Take a full deep breath. And then bring the knees to the floor. Child's pose. So come back where we started. Soften the belly. Soften the muscles on your face. And let yourself really give your weight to the ground. Notice if there's any holding. And with each exhale, see if you can soften that. And then if you're ready, on an inhale, gently come on up. And bring the knees together. And then if you've got some more time, it could be a nice idea just to lay down on your back. Take some time out to come back. But if you need to get on with your day, see if you can entertain the thought of supporting yourself, letting the ground support you, and finding your breath no matter what's going on in your day or what stuff is going on all around you. So try and keep that connection to yourself no matter what. Thanks so much for practicing with me. Well done. Have a great day. Bye.